Metropolitan Melbourne will move to the second step on its recovery roadmap from 11:59 p.m. tonight. Under the revised roadmap, dates to ease further restrictions have been dumped in favour of case number targets. Premier Daniel Andrews says he now expects Melbourne to take the third step on October 19th, a week earlier than originally scheduled. The citywide curfew has also been scrapped. It will no longer be in force from 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. All primary school students will be able to return to the classroom from October 12th, and childcare facilities will reopen to all children. Mr Andrews has also announced the relaxed measures will allow almost 130,000 employees to return to work on site in various industries. Visitation rules for hospitals and care facilities will also be relaxed, and groups of up to 5 people across 2 households can now gather in public. Let's get more on this with state political reporter Richard Willingham in Melbourne. Richard, just take us through the details of those latest changes coming into force from tomorrow.
Well, they come in tomorrow. It will actually come at 11:59 tonight. The big one I think a lot of people will be very happy about is that preps to grade 6s will all be returning to the classroom on October 12 when Term 4 resumes here in Victoria. I think that's a lot of people have been eager to get the kids back in the classroom. That's based on, the government says, a sort of collection of scientific studies that show that the transmission rate amongst students is very, very low at those younger ages. I think there's been a lot of outbreaks here in Victoria that have only been confined to one case in those outbreaks in schools. So that's something that's obviously a big positive. 127,000 people can also go back to work tomorrow. Construction sector jumps from 25% capacity up to 85%. Other manufacturing is going up. Warehousing, distribution centres are going back to nearly full capacity. Meatworks, including abattoirs, are going up to 80 or 90% of capacity, which is good heading to the busy Christmas period as well and the spring lambing season. So that's one positive there too. Real estate can return to private inspections and online auctions. There had been sort of heavy restrictions on that. That's an idea to hope to get that industry ticking over again. Sole traders, including gardeners and landscapers, can also resume activities, but they have to work on their own, which has caused some concern. Travel is still banned outside of Melbourne and it's still limited to the 5-kilometre radius, but the curfew is going. Last curfew will be tonight and ending at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. There has been a legal challenge on that, but Daniel Andrews said this decision to scrap the curfew was not based on that challenge, rather on the fact that it was no longer needed. Now, in response to that, though, the fine for breaking the rules for gathering has jumped from about $1,600 to nearly $5,000 for anyone caught breaking the rules. So that's quite a significant jump in penalties for people breaking those rules. There's quite a lot of detail in this today and people still working through it. Lots of people will be poring over it to see how it affects them. Recreation, there is going to be outdoor pools will be open with sort of density limits, but tennis courts and golf will still be banned for another 3 weeks at least, because the Premier doesn't want that open yet, because he doesn't want to restrict, he wants to keep that restriction of movement, the scientific backing. They're saying the public health advice is to keep that limited at the moment.
Now, Richard, the Premier, he also foreshadowed that there may be an earlier movement towards stage 3. What did he say there?
So initially, the next step was to be on October 26, and had to be an average of 5 cases per day over 14 days, and no more than 5 community transmissions in that period. That date timeline has now been scrapped, and the government will work on trigger points if that numbers can be met. Now, they're hoping that could be met by October 19, I think it is, which would actually mean that the following weekend is grand final weekend, which for Melbourne, starved of footy, although the game won't be here. I think a good excuse for a lot of people to sort of celebrate. Among the restrictions too, though, already is the public gatherings. People can meet with people from one other household outdoors for up to 5 people, so people might be able to enjoy some of the spring weather. But the Premier said even with the moving of the dates, he doesn't want to rush this because they can't risk all the hard work that's gone on. Here's what he had to say at his long press conference earlier this afternoon.
There are many things to look forward to. There are many things to be very, very optimistic about. Victorians have done but still need to do an amazing job. We can't just say, right, these numbers are low, it's done. It isn't. It's not. It'll come back with fury. It will run wild if we just let this go. If we pretend it's over when it isn't, then we will finish up in a very, very difficult circumstance very quickly.
Victorians deserved a path out of lockdown, and instead they were let down. we deserved a heck of a lot more than what we got today, because there are too many kids, there are too many lives, there are too many jobs, there are too many businesses that are all suffering today, and unnecessarily so. We need to have a Premier that will listen. Listen to those people who are the experts and who say that we can reopen safer and sooner. That's what we need to start undoing the massive damage that has been done to our economy, but also to our society.
That's the state opposition leader there, Michael O'Brien, saying that not enough restrictions are being eased today and businesses are hurting. I'm sure we'll hear from lots of businesses who aren't allowed to open, particularly hospitality sector, that were hoping that given Victoria's ahead of schedule, that they might have been able to reopening sooner. But I guess today, tomorrow, there'll be some celebration and some people getting back to work, but all eyes, of course, will be on those numbers to see if we can open up in Melbourne about October 19.
State political reporter Richard William there in Melbourne.